Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel and another video. This one is one that I've thought about doing for a long time, but I just hadn't, I don't know, I think I wanted to spend more time in India before I made it, just so I have all the knowledge I can. I feel like I've spent a good amount of time in India, particularly alone, even though I am living here and staying here with my partner. On a day-to-day basis, when they're at work, I go outside every day by myself alone. And I wanted to kind of talk a bit about some tips and just some general thoughts and opinions and experiences from being in India alone and what that looks like. And before I ever went to India, I was also concerned about this, even though I didn't travel for the first time alone, but still I was still worried about this kind of stuff and like what it would be like. I feel like India as a travel destination, there isn't as much information about in terms of like for women particularly, even though I would say like majority of tourists, foreigners coming to India are mostly women. Women seem to have more of an interest in India than men, I feel. And yeah, I just thought like this is the kind of video I would have loved to have seen before I came to India, just for like some detailed knowledge about what to expect. So let's get started. So the first question is India safe? Okay, well, this question makes me feel a little bit defensive, and I'll tell you why. Because I think it's everyone's, like my friends, family, or in general when you tell people like I want to go to India, or even more so I want to live in India or stay there long term, like people in general, their first thing that they're always going to say is like why it's not safe there. It's not safe there, especially for a woman. Of course, there's truth to it. Like these opinions and thoughts haven't formed out of nowhere, but I will say as well that also the majority of information that the West hears about India is negative, and little does anyone know about all the positives of India as well. And that like because of the population of India is so huge, of course you're going to have crime, of course you're going to have bad things happen, as you would in any area that is highly populated, highly densely populated with people. It's just what's going to happen. A large amount of it would be to do within people that know each other. The same with most kinds of crimes, right? Like most of them are related to the people know each other, and it's someone of a relative, and it's some you know, like clash going on type thing. Of course, when it comes to crimes of a sexual nature and rape cases, of course that is there, that exists, but it also exists in mostly every country. It's there in Ireland as well. If you research on the safety of India, like this is all the stuff that you will find anyway. And there are also some foreigners on YouTube who I've seen do videos about they have had negative experiences in India, such as being followed, such as being groped, and really horrible stuff happening. And when I'm talking about or defending India in any way, I'm not blind to these things happen. They of course happen, and that's why I'm making this video, is like how I stay vigilant and how everyone should stay vigilant if they're visiting India, especially if you're a woman. I feel like these tips that I'm going to mention now are things that like they may seem common sense, but like you really just need to be vigilant at all times when you're outside. Yeah, overall, is India the safest country in the world? No, it's not. I think everyone knows that. It's not some secret or some, you know, anything, but should that stop you from coming to India and enjoying the culture, the people, the country? No, it shouldn't. It all comes down ultimately to which part of India are you going to. There are some dangerous parts of India, there's some safe parts of India. There's kind of a generalization as well about like the north and south. North India is considered less safe than the south of India. It's really important to kind of do some research on which area are you going to. Like, are you going to be in somewhere like Kerala or Chennai? You're going to be probably fairly safe. Are you going to Delhi? Are you going somewhere like to UP? These types of areas and states are known to be a bit more unsafe, a little bit more volatile. People's attitude are a little bit different. And I love the north. I've mostly only explored the north so I can't really talk too much about the south really, but that is a general consensus that the north is less safe than the south. And a lot of first timers going to India usually do go to the south. Obviously they go to like Delhi and Jaipur and see like the main tourist attractions, the Golden Triangle, etc. But then a lot of them will go to like Kerala, Bangalore, like these types of more modern and developed areas, I guess. I live in Pune, which is in Maharashtra, which the closest city, if you don't know, would be probably Mumbai. And I actually don't know, is it considered the north or south? I think it's kind of, well, it's kind of the mid the middle of the country, on the coast, but in the middle. So I go outside every single day pretty much here in Pune during the daytime for hours sometimes at a time, and I've never, except one occasion, have felt unsafe. I'll get to that at the end of the time that I did feel a bit uncomfortable, but other than that, I've never felt unsafe or uncomfortable, like here in Pune especially. Honestly, I feel really relaxed here in Pune. It's a very chill city. I feel like it's a nice vibe here, and people in general are really nice and friendly. And if you're just visiting and going on a trip, then fine, like you can visit all of the main sites as everyone is going to anyway. But I just mean if you're staying more long-term solo travel, then just have a real think about like where you're actually going. Is that place good for you? Is it safe? Is it generally safe? So point number 1 is the nighttime. Do not go out at nighttime. This is, I think, like something I honestly hadn't thought about before I came to India, on like, oh, whether I should go out at nighttime or not. Like, let's say you're on a holiday, of course you're going to go out at nighttime. Like, there's nightlife and it's a different vibe at nighttime in every country and city. So naturally people want to go outside at nighttime. But if you are a solo female traveler in particular in India, do not go out at nighttime. I still don't go outside like after dark by myself. I just wouldn't, I just don't think it's worth like the risk. And if you do for whatever reason have to go outside at night, like take an auto or an Uber, like don't walk. And if you do have to walk for whatever reason, try and make sure it's in a pathway where there are lots of people. The more isolated the place is, I feel like the more dangerous it would likely to be, which kind of sounds like ironic. You'd think it'd probably be the other way around, but I think the more people there are, the safest it is. And this brings me on to an incident that actually happened in Ireland. My boyfriend came to visit Ireland there just 2 weeks ago. We were in a subway and these kids came in and were stealing, and a huge blowout, like physical fight happened between these kids and one of the employees. We were like locked into the shop and everything, and it was actually really terrifying. Like, I've also been at gunpoint in one of my jobs in Ireland, so those were like the two kind of scariest incidents I've had so far in terms of safety in Ireland. And the funny thing about that incident was all of the other people around just watched. Like, no one did anything, no one said anything to those kids, no one intervened, no one tried to help. And that's how it is in Ireland, and probably in other countries in the West, is everyone's afraid. Everyone's afraid to get involved. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to get hurt, or I don't want to be involved in that. And they'll just watch. And in India, I think that just would not happen. Like, people are people's people in India, and everyone will come to your rescue as such. If you were in a situation and there's lots of people around, like, someone is going to be intervening. If that situation in Dublin had happened here in India, you can guarantee people would be like beating those kids up. Like, that wouldn't have happened to that employee in that shop. I think that's honestly a really good thing about India, is that there's a sense of like camaraderie between its people. Like, if people see something unjust happening, people help and people intervene and people take action. People don't just stand there and be like, oh, well, that sucks, I'm not getting involved in that. And that works in our favor as women and as foreigners, especially as foreigners, I will say, because obviously, as bad as it is, there is a difference in the way that foreigners are treated here versus like Indian women, for example, in their home. But everything I'm relating to is just for your information as a foreigner tourist coming to India. Moral of the story, don't go outside past 6 p.m. Like, just get all your stuff done morning to daytime and have the evening to just be inside. The second tip I have is to make sure you have all of the necessary mobile apps and safety apps. The one that I actually use now is called Life 360. This isn't even sponsored in any way, although I wish it was. Someone else in my family went traveling and used this app, and I just thought it would be a good idea to download it and have while I'm living and staying in India. It basically shows your location at all times. I'll put a little like screenshot of what it looks like and how it works, but it basically shows your location to anyone who's in the group, so a family member, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, whoever you want, and they can see where you are. And it also shows your battery level, like on your mobile, like maybe if your phone is on 1% or dead, it will say that. So it's just good to have, and it does it does drain a good bit of your battery, but honestly, if you have a power bank or something, you're good to go. Like it's worth it for your safety. The second thing is to have all of the relevant contact numbers in your phone already. This is for any country you're going to, not just India, but like have like the police number, have like a ambulance number, have the firefighter's number, have the hospital number. Everything, just have them saved in your phone because you just never know. And the other one would be the travel apps. So Ola, Uber, Rapido, these are the ones that we use in India. They're fixed fares, you don't have to do any bargaining or haggling, and it's just very like simple, quick, and it's safe. They have safety features on these apps as well. I will show you an example of that on the Rapido app. It's just so handy, and it just also feels safer when you know that this person is registered on this app. You know, you can see their ratings and their reviews. It just feels safer that you're not getting into any random strangers' auto or car. It's like, okay, you're pre-booking it, these people are more legit, you know. And the other one would be if you do have an Indian contact, someone to contact in India, even if it's like your hotel reception or someone in your hostel, wherever you're staying, if you don't have like an Indian friend or someone that you know in India, like definitely get the contact for sure of where you're staying or someone individual in where you're staying, not just like the hotel main line. Something just more personal that if you are stuck in any way, you can just contact this person and they can hopefully help you. The next tip would be just to know generally an overview of where you're going, what to expect. For example, in Pune here we have metered autos, so the fare is based on meter. That's if you don't go pre-booked, for example. But you can ask like to go by meter. In Delhi, cities like Delhi, they don't have that at all. So you have to bargain every fare with the auto driver. And if you're a foreigner, you are 100% going to get ripped off unless you know what you should be paying. To kind of combat this, like, look, I think for a lot of foreigners, if you're just going on a quick holiday there, you probably don't mind spending an extra 50 cent equivalent on taking an auto however far, you know what I mean? Like, I think because of the currency difference, especially euro to INR or dollars to INR, like it's not much for us, you know, it's fine. So a lot of people, they don't mind to just pay that. But if you really want to be kind of more street smart and kind of be more like a local, then don't get ripped off and just know the general range of what you should be paying for what service. I'm just giving an example of Delhi because I feel like that's where most people will kind of go. But in Pune, transport is more expensive here than in Delhi. But the auto rides fares are usually more than I had experienced when I went to Delhi. Like if I go 3 kilometers here or even like 2 kilometers, I could pay up to like 100 INR, which is the equivalent of like €1. But in Delhi, you would probably get that same fare for much less, like maybe what, 40, 50 INR? Don't quote me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so just to know in general, and if you do a quick Google search, I'm sure you can find any of this stuff online, like how much to expect to pay for a, 5-kilometer auto ride in Delhi, you know? So it's just about researching. And in terms of shopping in India, it varies greatly depending on where you shop. If you shop in malls or places like that, even if it's a stall in a mall, it will still be much more expensive than if you buy at a market. Like I bought bed sheets, and if I had gotten them at a market, I could have gotten them for like 200 INR, maybe even less, or between like 100 to 300 INR. But if you go to like a mall and get that same item, you could be paying more like between 4 to 10,000 INR. So like there's definitely different prices depending on what kind of quality you want and what kind of item you want. For stuff like clothing, like I feel like the markets are amazing. Like why would you pay €10 for it when you can get it for €5 in a market? But that's just personal preference, and it depends on what you're looking for as well. If you're buying stuff like electronics, for sure get it in proper shops in malls or proper outlet stores. Do not get anything branded in markets because it won't be real. And in general, just having a little bit of knowledge of the language will go a long way for you, for sure. The thing is, a lot of people will know English. A lot of people that you're going to encounter while traveling will probably know a bit of English enough to get by to be able to speak with you. However, I've definitely been in situations, a lot of people like auto drivers, cab drivers, don't know any English, or maybe only one or two words, and it can be difficult to communicate with them if you don't know any Hindi. So I would definitely recommend just even doing like a really quick overview, I don't know, YouTube video on like some basic Hindi phrases. And because I've definitely been in situations, I remember this one time I was in Delhi and I was going from the city to Akshardham temple. The guy didn't have any English really, and I had enough Hindi that I could converse with him and negotiate the fare. And when I got there, it was closed, so I had to explain like I wanted to go to this other place. And it sounds like not a big deal like when I'm saying it, and it wasn't a big deal, but like in that situation, if I hadn't have known that little bit of Hindi, I feel like I wonder like how that whole thing would have went. And especially at the end, he was trying to charge me like crazy money for that trip, and I knew better that it isn't supposed to be that price, and you know, I had enough Hindi to then bargain that. But yeah, I think just having a bit of Hindi for sure, because it will definitely be in your favor to learn a little bit before you go. So the next thing it brings me to is clothing. I think as a woman, it's really important in India to be conscious of what you wear. At the end of the day, India is a modest country. You should dress modestly. It's still quite a conservative culture, conservative way of thinking and society. It's just really important, I think, that if you're coming here to like respect the culture, respect the way it is here. And in India, like women are mostly covered. Of course, in bigger cities, in more metro cities, Bangalore, even here in Pune, Mumbai, of course, there are Indian women or girls wearing like crop tops and more Western clothing and jeans and shorts and stuff. That definitely exists, but it's also different because they're Indian, you know. But if you are a foreigner, you're naturally going to get more stares and more looks, especially as a woman. And I think that maybe at the end of the day, it's just personal preference on like how you feel when you come here. But I always wear Indian clothes like when I go outside. In the house, I wear Western clothes, or I wear whatever I want, just shorts or anything. But when I go outside by myself, especially during the day, I always wear a kurti and a dupatta as well. And it helps me blend in. Like less people notice that I'm a foreigner because like I have my sunglasses on, Indian clothing on, I have dark hair. I don't get as much looks and stares as someone maybe who has blonde hair and is wearing like a crop top and shorts. And obviously it's hot weather. I can completely understand why people would wear those things coming here, but I just think that it's, at the end of the day, it's hot here. Like you're gonna sweat anyway. It actually doesn't make a difference. And in a way, this clothing is way more breathable and lighter. It's actually more comfortable to wear, like for when you sweat and stuff. Trust me. But I have seen some videos online of like people coming to visit here and they're wearing like their cleavage is showing and they're wearing shorts, and they're wondering like why XYZ, why everyone's staring at them so much and why they're getting these comments or anything, like whatever may happen. Why put yourself in that? Like just it'll cost only a few euro to purchase a couple of items. It's not that you have to dress in Indian clothing whatsoever. That is my own personal preference, but that is not mandatory. You can wear your Western clothes, but just be a bit more covered up, be conscious, especially when you're going into temples and stuff like that. And just, I think like getting a scarf or a dupatta to throw over your shoulders, like if you are wearing a lower top, or there's so many easy ways to kind of just quickly cover up if you need to. I think just be mindful of where you're going and just respect the culture. And also trust me when I say like Indian clothing is in so many ways way more comfortable for this weather. Like that's why they are wearing this kind of stuff, because it's light and it's breathable. But if you do want to wear more Western clothes, like the first time I came here, I didn't have any Indian clothing. I brought like jumpsuits, like airy, breathable jumpsuits. I used to wear like a t-shirt under them if they had a lower v-neck. I would wear like, not jeans, but like breathable linen pants, and linen is really good to wear here as well because it's really breathable and really airy. Or like a maxi dress as well, something like that. So there's so many options anyway. Like if you don't want to wear Indian clothing, there's so many options that you can wear to still dress like you would, but be more conservative and more respectful. So moving on to the question, have I ever felt unsafe in India? There has been one occasion where I did feel uncomfortable, but it wasn't actually something directly at me. I'll explain. So there's a Jain temple here in Pune called, sorry, I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, I went there one day during the daytime, and it's kind of located up a little bit of a hill, and I got an auto up to the mandir, and then it's kind of like on the hill, there's nothing there, so I had to walk down to get an auto back home. It was actually like a busy street, so there was like a street here, and I was standing here, and there was like a drunk man, like very drunk, like stumbling over towards me, and I was waiting on my auto at the time, so like I was just there like waiting for my auto. He was, yeah, just coming closer and closer, and I definitely started to panic because he was also like staring at me, so I'm like, okay, he's drunk and he's staring at me. At this point I couldn't see anyone around, and there was cars like going by, but like, you know, they're in their car, like they may not see this happening, whatever. Then out of nowhere, this man in a white truck like came up and like parked right. I'm here, he came right here, he got out of his car, he was going somewhere anyway, but he saw this drunk man and he shouted something to him in Marathi. I didn't understand, I don't know any Marathi. Then the drunk man just kind of like stopped, and like he was like trying to get an auto, so he himself was just like, you know, trying to get an auto. And yeah, like it was just that's what happened. And it's not even that like big of a deal, like in retrospect of like what you hear things happening to people, like actual incidents that are more, you know, scary and severe. But that's the only time I really truly felt like, oh, like a bit unsafe, because if there was no one around, like, you know, this man's just coming towards me, I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, like that's the only time I felt unsafe. And as long as you kind of adhere to like those things, like don't go out at night, and, you know, don't go to places where there's no people around, you know, don't go down any side streets or alleys, or as you would in any country. If you're in, you know, if I was in Ireland, I also wouldn't be going down any side streets by myself either. So it is just kind of common sense. But I think like just to be extra vigilant when you're in India. And I think with all of the technology we have now, we're so grateful that we have so many different ways that we can kind of like, you know, even if we're alone, we can still be connected to so many people, and that will only obviously hopefully improve and like everything become more safer in that sense. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think there's two categories of people. There's people that are, you know, very concerned about their safety, and as such won't go to places like India or put themselves in such situations where something could happen, and I completely understand and respect that. And then there's other people who are more like, okay, yeah, like something could happen, but like I'm not going to stop that from letting me live my life and, you know, enjoy life and do things. And I go into this category because, yeah, like of course I want to be safe too, and I don't want anything to happen to me, but I also don't want to live in fear and want to experience the world. And yeah, like I think it's such a divided thing, because some people are like, oh, like do you not care about your safety, like why don't you care about yourself? And it's like, I do care about myself, but I'm just living. Like I don't want to be sitting under a rock being like, oh, I'm too afraid to do anything because of XYZ could happen. XYZ could happen in my home country too. As I've said there, I've had scary instances there also, and every country has its own crime and its own dark places, and that's what I'll say about that. At the end of the day, like if you're planning to go to India, especially solo as a woman, then you're definitely in this bracket as well. But yeah, I'm sure the other people in this bracket are probably not even watching. But anyway, I feel bad that this video mostly pointed on like negative things, but it's all just stuff that if you're a woman coming to India that you should be aware of and know about and be considering. But I will for sure do another video about like all the things that I love about India, because that far outweighs all of the negatives for me anyway. And that's why I'm here and staying here and living here. So there truly is so much beauty in India, and the hospitality here as well, like is unmatched to like anywhere I've ever been. Like the people here are so intrigued in you, they want to chat with you, they want to, you know why you're coming to India, like they want to do anything to help you, invite you places, like show you things. Like they are very hospitable people, and I am almost 100% sure that you will have an amazing time if you come and visit India. Don't let these few stories or instances discourage you from going somewhere and seeing somewhere truly beautiful and amazing with such an amazing rich culture and history. So yeah, anyway, I hope this video was helpful for some of you, and if you have any other topics in related to India you would like me to chat about, do let me know in the comments, and I will see you in my next one.